Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Monday. It is a new week. I know, it's hard to believe. Oh, getting closer and closer to Christmas. And today, I have a different show, all right? So, come for the thought, stay for the conversation, all the fun things. And today, I'm actually pulling it up now so that I can read it to you. All right. Asian superstitions. So I've been wanting to do a show on superstitions, and it's just, I grew up in the Hawaiian culture, which is heavily based in the Asian culture. Plus, I'm half Asian, being half Filipino. So now I know in parts of the world, Asians are like Indians, or I think Mid-Easterners, so the Orientals, for those of you who come from different cultures where you call Asians different things. So anyways, let's get rolling. All right, so superstitions, Asian style, with a little bit of Hawaiian flair and a little bit of Filipino, okay, which are Asians, and Pacific Islanders, but maybe we'll do Hawaii a different day. But again, because they have their own set of superstitions, all right? Whew, I know. So anyways, the definition of superstition is excessively credulous belief in and reverence for the supernatural, a widely held but unjustified belief in supernatural causation leading to a certain consequence of an action or event, or a practice based on such a belief. I don't like the phrasing unjustified. If you're a sports fan, it is justified. And my superstition today is wearing gold glittery stuff because my Chargers are blue and gold. Well, gold. It's yellow. But anyways. All right. Good morning, Muddy. Oh, I like that. Mutts. Good morning, Muddy. So anyways, so I wrote this down, so I guess I'll just read it. I think it was supposed to be a note, but I'm a writer, so nothing's ever short. Half Filipina, raised in the Hawaiian culture where there is a heavy Asian influence, being superstitious felt like a rite of passage. Okay, so being half Filipino, and the one in there is the Hawaiian, my dad. So being I grew up in California. All right, I was born in Hawaii. My parents grew up there. I actually have native Hawaiian blood, but bloodline, as they call it. But sorry, my hair is driving me nuts this morning. But I was raised in California. However, the Hawaiian culture followed me here. Okay, so I was raised heavily based in the Hawaiian culture. So again, I'm half Filipino, raised in the Hawaiian culture where there is a heavy Asian influence. So being superstitious felt like a rite of passage. And I'm glad to see that older siblings on, because she gives me a hard time for being superstitious. In fact, her aunt was superstitious. And when she got married, her husband said, just stop. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, someone tells me to stop being superstitious, I'm going to be more superstitious. But I've gotten better. And by that I mean, because like I mentioned last week, and I don't think older sibling was on, years and years ago, when she has two hockey teams. Well, she has two number one hockey teams. I have a 1 and a 2. But when my number one hockey team and her other number one hockey team were in the playoffs, I was very superstitious, and everything had to stay the same until they were out. And I was just like, oh my God, you cleaned the table. Where'd you put everything? Put it all back. And I mean, it was that bad. And I do think that sometimes people's superstitions go a little above and beyond. All right. Even I started looking back going, wow, I was way over. My father, before Charger games, had a whole spread, played his Supercharger song, and he had a whole ritual, right? Which is superstition. And if they lost, I forgot the olives today. Or, I forgot the meats. Or, I forgot this cheese. And so after a while, it just became kind of like, oh. But, so as I said, I've been wanting to do different superstitions from different places. And I thought, well, a while ago, I saw a video sometimes when I'm trying to go to sleep, I love to watch YouTube. Okay. And there was a video from, it was I think it was Hong Kong Disneyland. I don't think there's a is it Shanghai Disneyland or Hong Kong Disneyland? I don't know. But either way, over there, and they don't have a haunted mansion. They had this cute thing called Phantom Manor with a monkey who accidentally unleashes a box, which creates havoc in this gentleman's collection of things. It brings everything to life. And I remembered thinking, why don't they have a haunted mansion? But then I remembered, Asians have a very delicate relationship. Excuse me. Asians have a very delicate relationship with ghosts, with the supernatural. And it is, I want to say revered, but also feared. So revered and feared. And so I thought, oh yeah, that's right. That's kind of what started the whole superstition thing, because I wanted to talk about that. But then the other night I was watching this one guy on YouTube called Mr. Ballen, Ballen. I highly suggest looking him up because this man can tell stories. I mean, they're scary, but I mean, not scary, but just kind of, wow. You know, they're not for the faint of heart if you scare easily. But I mean, honestly, they're actually really good stories. He's a very good storyteller. And there was this kid who was coming home from well, not a kid, but to me he's a kid, coming home from his friend's house. And it was like an hours long bus ride. And he was the only one on the bus. And so, you know, he kind of nodded off and yada, yada, yada. And then he woke up and he's like, oh man, I can't believe I'm still the only guy on this bus. It was just him and the bus driver. All right. And so, anyways, long story short, there's a lot of supernatural activity happening on this bus. He got a picture of a hand coming at it, like an arm coming out of nowhere. And he was like freaking out because, you know, again, in the Asian culture, you know, it's a scary thing. So he goes home, he falls asleep, and then, you know, the next day, or I don't know if it's the next day or early the next morning, he wakes up and there's just a line of people. Now they're real, okay? But apparently on September 4th, you know, people don't do anything. They don't leave their houses, they don't do it. And this is kind of like their All Hallows Eve. All right. I don't want to say Halloween because Halloween has a whole thing on itself, but All Hallows Eve, which is basically Halloween. And, it's when apparently the veil is the thinnest in their culture. And this is in Taiwan. So, you know, it's, you know, so September is called Ghost Month. And this thing that he saw where people were carrying lanterns was like a ghost march, you know, to honor the dead. And so, but everybody's all like, you know, you can't, you know, the guy didn't want him to share it because he's all, you know, this can ruin my business because it's a ghost on his bus. But the weird thing was the following week, the same bus driver was in an accident. And they said on the video, you can see him arguing with nothing, you know, just kind of like there's something happening. And then he, you know, and he ended up, I guess the crash was so bad, he ended up spending a little bit of time in jail. But you can see he was easily distracted. And the guy who had the initial video, who was by himself, was just kind of like, oh yeah, you know what? There was something weird happening on his bus. But the thing is everybody says, you know, you need to get rid of that. You need to disperse the bad luck. His friends will share it with a bunch of people, put it on Facebook because you need to disperse the bad luck. And that's just it. In the Asian culture, they think spirits are just out to get them. And there's a heavy, heavy fear of ghosts. And I think we'll make that a completely different show because it is a fascinating thing to kind of go through. You know, we'll talk about ghosts on another one. And it's not to scare anyone. It's just, I think there are some, you know, myths that need to be kind of ironed out so that people aren't horrified every time they hear the G word. All right. I mean, it's not, in some cases, it's not so dissimilar from the TV show Ghosts. And I'm not kidding either, okay? So, but anyways, we're here to talk about superstitions. So, here are the top 20 Asian superstitions that I got from Guide Sci-Fi. That's what it's called, Guide, SIFY.com. Now, this is a compilation they put together according to Chinese, Japanese, and Korean beliefs. Now, again, as I said, these cultures are a heavy influence in Hawaii, and they have been for generations. So, or years or for decades at least, but at least 2 generations. So a lot of these things are things that I grew up with. And a lot of these things also kind of flow into Filipino culture and Filipino superstition, just because it's, a lot of these countries landed in the Philippines and just kind of their culture spread throughout, including their superstitions. So, I also have a tiny list of some really wild Filipino superstitions. Some of them are just mean. The first one is mean. But anyways, let's get going. So 20 superstitions that every Asian must know. Whistling at night. According to Chinese, Japanese, and Korean beliefs, whistling after dark may invite wandering spirits into your home or attract snakes. So if you're walking alone at night, keep the tunes to yourself. Keeping the tunes to yourself might be for the best. I learned that one very young. I was whistling one night and my cousin said, "Oh my God, you can't whistle at night." I'm like, "Why?" And she's all, "Because it'll invite spirits in." It's like, okay, never heard that one. I was about probably 11. And I'm like, all right. But then of course, when I was a kid, I was afraid of my own shadow. All right. So, I was 14 when I finally kept my eyes open in Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. I know. But yeah, everything scared me. And I think part of it is because I do have a bit of a gift. And I think I turned a bit of that off. But yeah, even Sammy, don't worry about the ghosts. She just doesn't want to attract snakes. Yeah, I like snakes, but I can't tell the difference between the poisonous ones and the non-poisonous ones. So it's just like, nope, steer clear. Yeah, so this one I recently learned from a friend of mine. Don't stick your chopsticks upright in a bowl. So how sometimes when you walk away from your food, right? And I had a habit of that, just sticking them upright in there. And it's like, oh, now I just kind of set it to the side. Like I not bend it, but I put it slanted in when using chopsticks. While it may seem convenient to rest your chopsticks by sticking them upright into your bowl of rice or noodles, this is a major taboo in Asian cultures. The reason it resembles how incense sticks are placed during funeral rites, symbolizing death and bad luck. In Japan, China, and other parts of Asia, doing this at the dining table is also considered disrespectful. So there you go. If you're at a Chinese restaurant, a Japanese restaurant, any kind of restaurant where you are using chopsticks, do not stick them upright in the bowl, because you're either going to give some poor Asian person a heart attack, or they're going to sit there and go, "Ay, bad luck." Yeah, and you don't want that. So, yeah, exactly. Like with Sammy, I don't mind snakes, but I need to be able to see them. I agree. And not only that, you want to be able to see them because you don't want to step on the poor things, if they're just minding their own damn business, because a lot of them aren't poisonous. Just out here, I can't. There's a way. I remember in 5th grade, we took a nature hike and they told us, and I completely forgot. I think something about diamonds or being red. Obviously, it's a rattlesnake. You can hear it. So thank you to the creator of the rattlesnake for at least giving us an audible sound, Let's see. Shaking your leg. Now, this is funny because how many of us when we were kids, shake a leg, hurry up, shake a leg. So shaking your leg might seem like a harmless habit, but in many Asian cultures, it is believed to shake away your wealth and good luck. To keep your fortune on your side, it's best to keep your legs still and steady. Does anybody even shake their leg? I know there's a phrase, shake a leg, which means chop chop. But does anybody actually, I've never seen anybody literally shake their leg unless there's something on it and they're freaking out. In which case, a spider crawling up my leg is definitely going to take precedence over me worrying about wealth and good luck. Because if the spider could kill me by giving me a heart attack. So, in which case, wealth and good luck doesn't matter. So anyways, that's just bad luck in itself. So yeah, maybe swipe it if you can, but yeah. So anyways, pointing directly at the moon. Legend has it that if you point or stare at the moon, especially when it is full, you might wake up with cuts on the back of your ears. On the back of your ears, that's, wow. Yeah, I'm going to save that one for a ghost thing. Opening an umbrella indoors. In Chinese culture, it is believed that spirits are drawn to shadows. When you open an umbrella indoors, the shadow it casts can act as a doorway, inviting spirits into your home. This superstition has been passed down for generations, warning people to keep their umbrellas closed until they step outside. Whether you believe in spirits or not, it is a tradition many still follow to avoid bad luck. That's what I always heard was, don't open your umbrella indoors because it's bad luck. So I don't know if that's Asian based or just this is one of the superstitions of the Asians, because I've heard that across the board in many cultures. Well, you can stare at the moon, Sammy, just don't point at it. You know, it says pointing directly at the moon. So yeah, stare at it all you want, just don't point. Well, because it's rude anyways, right? Cutting your noodles when eating. Noodles are often served at birthdays and important celebrations as they symbolize longevity. Biting or cutting them is believed to represent cutting life short. So instead of breaking them, lift your bowl and enjoy them as they are. I've heard that recently. One of my Filipina friends, she's all like, every time she finds out it's someone's birthday, make sure they eat noodles. Which is a hell of a lot better than black-eyed peas on New Year's. Because I don't like black-eyed peas. Or was it black-eyed peas? I know. Older siblings like, you have to eat them. And it's like, you know, I don't like squishy food. I know I love mashed potatoes, but like squishy peas or squishy black-eyed peas, no. So anyways, yeah. So don't cut your noodles. And if it's your birthday, have some noodles, but don't cut them. Okay. Don't break them. Don't cut them. If you're making spaghetti, keep them whole. All right. Keep them whole. So, writing your name or others in red ink. Writing someone's name in red ink is considered bad luck as it is associated with death. The superstition stems from the old practice of recording the names of the deceased in red ink in family registers. To avoid bad omens, it's best to avoid red ink for names. Don't do it. Placing your bed in front of a mirror. Now, this is funny because I don't like sleeping in front of mirrors. If I'm in a hotel room, I will pick the bed the farthest from the mirror. I will ask if I'm with other people, like older sibling or something, is like, can I have the bed not in front of the mirror? And they're like, yeah. And it has nothing to do with bad luck. It has everything to do with, I don't want to wake up and see something in the mirror. You know, so, my own thing. But, many believe, that sleeping in front of a mirror can lead to restless nights and even invite spirits into your room. Some say the mirrors act as portals, allowing ghosts to enter, while others believe that seeing your reflection while you sleep can disturb your energy or even steal a part of your soul. Wow. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, having a mirror facing your bed can be unsettling, especially if you wake up in the middle of the night and catch a glimpse of something moving. There you go. But also, so what about the people who have mirrors behind them? Like older sibling and my dad. My parents had those big, like, headboards, like the size of the wall kind of headboards that have mirrors on it. I wonder if that's a thing. I don't know. They also say that if you put two mirrors facing each other, that creates a portal. Ask older sibling how I feel about that. We have two mirrors that face each other, and it's like a freaking super highway. But we didn't know at the time that they went up, so really not anybody's fault. Giving pairs or shoes. In Korea, gifting shoes to a significant other is believed to make them run away from you, whereas in Chinese culture, sharing a pair is avoided because the phrase "fen li" sounds like the Chinese word for separation, symbolizing the end of a relationship. To avoid bad luck, it's best to choose a different gift. Okay, Harry and David, and your pairs. Sammy says that's a feng shui thing for sure, the mirror. Yeah, you mean like facing them? Is that what you mean? Like when they're facing? Because, look, I don't know whether you believe in ghosts or not. Don't do it, all right? Because I'm telling you, it's something that we didn't realize until later. And then, but it always felt like there was so much activity on our stairs. There was always noises. There was always little wisps of shadows and whatnot. And then we were watching a show one day and it says, yeah, you shouldn't face mirrors together because they create kind of like a portal or a superhighway. And it's like, great. Well, okay, so not having a mirror facing the bed, Sammy says. Well, yeah, feng shui makes sense because it's Asian. So, yeah, that makes sense. Not I just don't like it. If I ever gave you a tour of this room or even my bedroom at home, I don't have mirrors in any of the rooms I sleep in. I do not. There is a mirror over here and it is turned the other way. I don't like mirrors in my room. Not because I'm a vampire, not because I'm afraid of my reflection. I don't, it's just a superstition of mine. I do not like mirrors in my room. And that goes back to my childhood where a lot of weird shit just always happened in my room. So yeah, kibosh. I mean, if I have to, I will, and it's not a big deal. But I do try to avoid sleeping in front of them, if at all, at all costs. So walking under a ladder, this is like everybody's superstition. And I'm going to tell you this, when I was in Arizona, I walked under a ladder. I purposely made myself walk under a ladder while I was good karmaing myself because I needed to get through. We were planning stuff and I thought, you know what? I'm going to, make older sibling proud and walk under this ladder. So the superstition of never walking under a ladder is believed to bring bad luck. It originates from the triangle shape formed by the ladder, symbolizing life or the Holy Trinity, which was considered sacred. In medieval times, it was also seen as tempting danger or misfortune. Now, here's the thing. So older sibling and I were talking about this last night because there were 3 spots on my phone and they made a triangle. And I have a lot of little spots on me, and if you connect them, and I know people will say, well, if you connect them, you can make any design. But I shit you not. They make triangles. And there's some where no matter what you do, if you connect them all, they're going to make triangles. And so sibling says it's the energy pyramid. Is that what pyramid of energy or something like that? So I just figured now when I read this, because it creates a triangle, maybe I was just safe because I have so many all over me. So, yeah. I'm not making fun of these things either. I swear to you. Because I am a very superstitious person. So it is probably best for me to not make fun of people. But some of these are just kind of like, they're blowing my mind because I purposely did not read this beforehand because I wanted to go through it with everybody else. And just kind of have that same kind of like, whoa, I had no idea. So, leaving your shoes upside down. Turning your shoes over symbolizes misfortune as it implies that things are upside down or out of order. This belief is often linked to the idea that shoes represent one's path or journey, and leaving them in such a position could disrupt your fortune or invite negative energy. I'm looking at my shoes. They're all straight up. That could be a problem at home because my shoes are majorly in disarray at home. So don't turn your shoes upside down. All right. Put them very nicely. That explains why too, when you go to an Asian house, like there's always shoe racks, right? I mean, I know lots of people have shoe racks, but there's always shoe racks. When we have family gatherings, because it is part of our upbringing in Hawaiian/Asian culture to remove your shoes when you walk into the house. We don't leave them outside because, high bugs, but we do take them off at the front door. And so, every holiday, there's just like piles of shoes at the front door. So, and interestingly enough, everybody leaves with their own shoes. So, finish every grain of rice in your bowl. It is believed that leaving, excuse me, It is believed that leaving rice unfinished in your bowl will cause your future spouse to have pockmarks. This popular Chinese superstition likely originated to encourage gratitude and prevent food waste, especially since rice is a staple food. Whether you believe in the superstition or not, finishing your meal is always a sign of respect and appreciation. I don't know, that just sounds to me like, oh, well, I don't want you to have blemishes. Seriously? That just sounds mean to me, but okay. Sorry, that one I'm rolling my eyes at. Just because it's like, I mean, if you're worried, seriously, if you're worried about that, it's like, because love transcends everything, right? Love transcends, because we're all going to get older and we're all going to change, I mean, I feel like I'm at my best right now, as opposed to 10 years ago when I look at pictures of myself and I just don't have the same confidence, I guess, in my face, or just the same, like, there's more self-deprecation happening and you can see it in the eyes. So don't worry about it. Okay. If you end up with pockmarks, you're still cool. All right. Avoiding the fourth floor. Interesting. In many East Asian cultures, the number 4 is feared because it sounds like the word for death. In Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, The belief is so strong that many buildings skip the fourth floor, much like some in the West avoid the 13th. Yeah, you know what? Okay, so when my parents used to stay at this one place in Waikiki in Hawaii when they'd come to visit, and I was always at my grandma's house, but every so often, they'd bring me by the hotel and stuff like that, because my grandma and grandpa were managers of an apartment, so their house wasn't that big. But also my dad, I like my privacy. But I did notice there was no 13th floor, but I never looked to see if there was a fourth floor. So now I know, all right? So if you are visiting somewhere in the Chinese, Japanese, or Korean cultures, like one of those countries, check to see if there's a fourth floor, all right? Check to see if there's a 13th floor too, because you never know. 13 is actually my favorite number, has been since I was 13, so, avoid cleaning your home on the first day of Lunar New Year. So Lunar New Year is kind of a moving target. It's usually in February. So look it up if you are a superstitious person and you're hearing this and going, oh, I better look this up. So for the Chinese, luck comes in on the first day of the Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year. So avoid cleaning your house on the first day of Lunar New Year to allow the auspicious luck to stay and gather in your home first. It sets the tone for the rest of the year. So again, it's usually around early February. Sometimes it lands in late January, but it's usually in early February. And just so you know, we are finishing out the year of the snake and heading into the year of the horse. So giddy up for 2026. Washing hair and getting a haircut on Chinese New Year's Day. In Chinese cultures, it's unlucky to wash your hair or get a haircut on Chinese New Year. The word for hair sounds the same as fasai, which means to become wealthy. Washing your hair is believed to wash away your fortune for the year ahead. I better look that up because, yeah, that one feels like a me thing. Wearing bright colors at funerals. Funerals are solemn occasions and wearing muted, respectful attire is expected. Bright colors like red, yellow, and pink are considered inappropriate as they symbolize celebration rather than mourning. Stick to dark, neutral tones without prints and avoid short skirts to show respect for the deceased and their family. That doesn't feel like a superstition. That feels more like a be respectful kind of thing. Now, when I die, if you're watching this and you know me when I die, please wear whatever the hell you want. Come in the brightest colors possible because I want to be celebrated, not mourned. It's as simple as that. I want to be celebrated, not mourned. I want a good old-fashioned Irish wake. I want somebody to pour Guinness all over my picture, or at least put one by me. I have a pint glass with my name on it, so someone better keep that shit filled. All right. So, and just come by and drink it. Whoever wants to come by and just drink it, and then somebody else come and fill it up. I'm being 100% serious, okay? Because I want people to just have a wonderful time. All right, cutting your nails at night. I do that a lot. In many Asian cultures, including Korea and Japan, cutting nails at night is considered bad luck as it could attract bad spirits or bring misfortune. Okay. Knocking on the door before you enter. It's common to see Asians knock on a hotel room door before entering to avoid any unwanted spirits or ghosts. The superstition stems from the belief that spirits might inhabit unoccupied rooms, and knocking alerts some of your presence, preventing any bad energy from entering with you. All right. This is going to happen now, right? Because older sibling will be like, we're going on a cruise in March and be like, sorry, occupado. Yeah. Wow. But I also asked them, thank you for sharing your space with me. So depending on where I'm at, because if I can feel it, they're going to get a message like, thank you. I appreciate you letting me stay here and occupy the same space as you. It is greatly appreciated. It can't hurt, right? Lucky number 8, especially in China, the number 8 is considered extremely lucky. I'm guessing because it looks like an infinity symbol turned sideways. This belief is rooted in the fact that the word for 8, ba, in Mandarin sounds similar to the word for prosperity or wealth, fa. Okay. As a result, people go to great lengths to incorporate the number 8 into their lives, from choosing phone numbers and license plates to selecting dates for important events. Touching the wood. Knock wood, baby. Let's see. That's funny, Sammy. She's all LOL. I thought the same thing. I'm going to be knocking on doors before I enter rooms or my house now. I didn't even think about the house. All right. I did not. Well, you know what though? But you live in your house, so it's really not unoccupied, right? But, well, or just say, I'm coming. So yeah. Anyways, I know now we're going to be like knocking, 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 knocking. Touching the wood. Touching wood is believed to bring good luck or protect against bad fortune. It's a simple but widespread practice that serves as a symbolic gesture of protection. I do that a lot. Like if I don't have wood, I'll just be like, knock wood. Oh, that was it. Okay, so there you go. So those are the top 20 Asian things. Now, here's the interesting things. I'm curious, anybody watching now or later, how many of these actually are things that you practice? Like touching wood or not walking under ladders or not opening an umbrella indoors. Theaters have superstitions. Something about a hat on a bed. And that I'm not that I don't understand. The hat, they say do not put hats on beds. Okay, you know what? We're going to save that for another day. The umbrellas, the hats, the light in the theater. The light in the theater I understand. But yeah, it's fascinating the superstitions that run through. And what's also fascinating are people who mock people who have superstitions. And you know who you are. But I touch wood all the time. Or knock on wood. I know you can hear me knocking. That's me. That's me. That's not some random spirit wandering the house right now. That is me. But yeah, these are all things I think a lot of us grew up with, right? We're going to cover standard superstitions, all right, one of these days. Because like I said, I'm trying to make the Aloha perspective, like I said, a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. And my newest catchphrase is come for the thought, stay for the conversation, because these are lives. So, hey, just everybody, it's a free for all. And, but yeah, I do have a lot of superstitions. Like, for instance, my shirt. I usually just wear it on game day. And when my team loses, I will wash it. That's when I wash it. Now, unfortunately, I've had to wash it a few times this season, but not that many. But, it's not like I go running around or exercising in it or anything. I'm literally just sitting here but that's the same with my jerseys. It's like, my hockey jerseys, which I do have to be careful with because some of them have signatures on them, but, I will not wash them if they're on a winning streak. I know. And sometimes I'll have to wear the same things, or sometimes I'll be like, no, I got to do this. And I've gotten a lot better. When it comes to sports, I created a new superstition to be superstitious of my superstitions so that I don't do them, because I'll be honest with you, they're exhausting. They can be very exhausting when you start thinking that you're going to control the outcome of your team. And you never know. I'm being honest when I say this. I think a collective group of people can change an outcome. But I'm one person. And then, sometimes when it works and works and works, maybe your belief is just that great, or maybe it's just a hot streak. Nobody knows. Okay. We might think we know. We can say, oh yeah, it's just a hot streak. You just got lucky, but we don't know. Okay. But that being said, I'm not going to make fun of people who are superstitious, because like I said, I myself am superstitious. It really is like a rite of passage in this culture. And growing up in the Hawaiian culture, which again, as I mentioned, is heavily influenced by the Asian culture. And so, and of course I don't want to say I guess the European culture as well. So there's a lot of crossover, and, but the ghost thing I always found interesting. I found even my mom, it's like, well, don't interact, don't talk, because, you don't want to invite demons into the house. My mom was very Catholic, but that could also go back to bad spirits, right? But that's just it. How do we know that they're bad? And by that, I mean, when we talk about the guy on the bus, okay, and he had the hand, and the guy says, don't show anybody that, because it could cost me business. He was more concerned about business than acknowledging the dead. And maybe that's why he had an accident the following week, because he didn't show respect, right? And that's just me kind of just working through all that, because nothing seemed to happen to the guy that took the picture and shared it with his friends and told his friends. He seemed to have a very healthy respect for what was happening around him, even though it scared the hell out of him. And this poor kid was on this bus for hours. Just, and when you're already raised, you're with that superstition, it's very ingrained inside of you. But like I said, with the man, who knows if he heard all the stuff going on in the back. But whatever it's like it didn't faze him. But at the same time, he didn't show a reverence and a respect for the dead, especially on the holiday that they created to celebrate their dead. Think of it as like the Asian version of Dia de los Muertos, all right, where you honor your dead. So, so, maybe they did do something bad to harm the guy and the bus driver. But, we'll never know if it was but we do know, and there was video where it shows him literally arguing with something that is not there, or trying to swat something away that's not there, which caused the problem. So again, I don't necessarily think we need to be afraid of all ghosts. I think you need to use your spidey instincts and discern, because not all of them are, on the up and up, but a lot of them are either lost or, I don't know if older sibling is still on, but last week we were talking, it's like, well, I don't watch the news. She said, well, I watch the news because if there's a bomb coming, I want to know. And it's like, dude, if there's a bomb coming, I don't want to know. I just want someone on the other side when I'm dead to tell me I'm dead. And she just started laughing. And it was the funniest freaking thing, but I was not in a good mood. So I was laughing internally. But now when I think about it, it was hilarious. Because it's like, yeah, how many people are out there that don't realize they're dead and they're just wandering? And so they're trying to get people's attention. And people aren't paying attention because they're freaking out. Think of it like the movie The Others, right? With Nicole Kidman. That's a perfect example of like, the living and the ghosts haunting each other. And just complete misunderstanding in the end. Sorry for the spoiler alert, but that movie's like, about 25 years old now? So, but it was a really good movie, and I highly suggest watching it. So, but yeah, I didn't give a whole lot away. I gave an idea away. But yeah, it was just two sets of people on either side of the veil haunting each other, and everybody freaking out. So, it's like, I do have a healthy respect for the supernatural, and I have become a little less afraid of them. I do use my spidey instincts when something doesn't feel right, but let's see. Oh, I know, it's December 8th. Sammy says, I wear a Beatles or Lennon shirt every year on this day. It wasn't a superstition, but I've done it for so long that it has become a superstition. Like if I don't do it, something will go wrong. I totally get that, right? Today is also the day that older sibling's father passed away 17 years ago. So I told her, I said, that's kind of funny that the musician died on the same day as another musician. Or passed away, the same day as another musician. But, yeah, so peace, John Lennon. Yeah, I get that though. Right? When you do something for so long that if you don't do it, it's kind of like, and then you're afraid to test it, right? You're afraid to not do it just in case. So I'm going to finish it off with some of these it was called outrageous Filipino superstitions, but I don't think all of them were really that outrageous. One of my favorites was number 4. Purse on the floor means you will lose money. It is so funny because my cousins always tell me, don't put your purse on the floor. And I'm like, what? And they're all, yeah, my friend, my Filipino friend told me, don't put your purse on the floor. And it's like, because, it means you're going to lose money or money's going to disappear or whatever. And it's like, oh. So I really, really, really try to not do that. So, and yeah, Sammy says exactly, better safe than sorry. Why not? Right? Why not? Have that dedicated shirt for that particular day. So, and that is a good warning for the rest of us. Don't do that. So it doesn't become a superstition. But anyways, number 1 in the outrageous Filipino thingies, bed bugs. Yikes. Placing some on a white piece of paper and leaving it in someone else's home will make the bed bugs transfer there. That is like the meanest superstition ever. Why don't you just put it outside instead of transferring it to someone else's home? Okay. Number 2, this one. This one was interesting because all I can think of is this poor person choking. If a fishbone gets stuck in your throat, don't tell anyone, but spin your plate 3 times to make it disappear. Number 3, when 3 people pose in a picture, the one in the middle will die first. Shit. Now nobody's going to want to pose in threes. They're going to be like, nope, nope. Or they're all going to be standing separate, like put the third person up front a little bit. So, you know, Number 4, person on the floor means you'll lose money. And number 5, if a husband and wife's name adds up to 30 or more letters, that means good luck. So whoever marries me, seriously, my name is already 25 letters long. Right? So Sammy says, I actually laughed at the fishbone one. I did too. And I'm going to tell you why. Because twice in my life, I found out my mom had to call 911 because she had a fishbone stuck in her throat. You know, just one of those tiny ones. You think you debone the fish, and those damn little suckers still find their way sometimes into your throat. And of course, it's very delicate because if it's pokey, it can poke a hole in your throat. And you don't want that because that's bad. But yeah, all I'm thinking is I would have just told her, well, don't tell anyone, just spin the plate 3 times. And I'm sorry. Good karma, good karma, good karma, good karma, good karma. I don't, you're going to be knocking on the wood. I don't mean to make fun of that, but it's like, that could kill somebody. But at the same time, I'm all like, I kind of want to try it and see if it works. But I don't, because I don't really eat fish anyway. But, damn. That just sounds like you're playing with fire there. I mean, that is literally the ultimate test of faith in your superstition, to not tell anyone you have a fishbone stuck in your throat. But here's the thing. If you start spinning your plate, won't everybody realize you have a fishbone stuck in your throat? Because if it's a shared superstition in your culture, people are going to be like, uh-oh, Uncle So-and-so has a fishbone stuck in his throat because he's spinning his plate. So, anyway. All right. So that's it. That's all. That's it. We'll talk about ghosts on another day. And because I do think it's safe to have a healthy respect for the supernatural. And if you don't believe, that's okay. I'm not going to force you to believe, but I do think it's still kind of fun if you stay along for the conversation. Hopefully it doesn't scare you, because, it can get a little bit outlandish, but I do want to do some more superstitions, like, where the umbrella indoors came from, where the no hat on the bed came from, where the light in the theater came from, which again, that one I do know. Why saying the H word in a Scottish theater is bad, Hamlet. I think in any theater. Sometimes they'll refer to it as the Scottish play, right? Or break a leg, right? Instead of saying good luck, they'll say break a leg. And a lot of people actually think that came from Shakespeare's time, when they would bend the knee. It was like, break a leg, when they would take their bows at the end of the show, and they would, basically bend the knee or break a leg. So, and by breaking a leg, it just means, bending. So, yeah, so we'll cover some of those later. Tomorrow, no idea what we're going to talk about. Who knows? This could be completely superstition week, or supernatural week. Good show, by the way, Supernatural. But I'm a late bloomer to that one. The show ended before I started watching it, and that was like 15 seasons, right? Somehow it managed to get away from me. But now I'm watching it, and it's funny because a lot of stuff they go through is a lot of shit that I've been through, and it's just like, whoa, okay, so somebody writing this stuff has had experiences or dreams or talks to people. So pretty wild stuff. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. If you're superstitious, don't worry. If people tell you shouldn't be superstitious, again, don't worry. But don't get it to the point where it's obsessive. And by that I mean where it's like, you're in that just in case phase. Like, well, I better do it just in case. Because sometimes it can be scary. The reason I walked under that ladder in Arizona last month was because I needed to confront my own fears on that, and had a safe drive home. Everything went fine, knock on wood. And yeah. So, and also, I know nobody noticed, but I got new glasses. So I finally got brave enough to buy the black frames. I've always wanted a pair of black frames, like thick black frames. I've had black frame glasses before, but the thick ones, like my tortoise shells. So yeah, I still have my tortoise shells. So I still have that one. I got 2 pairs, but I'm super excited about these. So, when you find a style, you just get every color, right? So, all right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch. That would be Shelly Marie Lucas. Excuse me. I'm talking so fast, I don't think I'm making sense now. Yeah. And I also share everything across the board. So, ta-da, there you go. And, if you're worried, walk into a room, knock on the door first. All right. So again, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and continue to be superstitious if you want to, because I will never stop. Have a great day.